Hi everyone, I'm Paul, and in my last video I said that the hardest part of the whole experience deserved a video of its own. And the more I thought about that, the more I realized the hardest part is not just one thing. It's not just being in a different country. It's not just learning how life works somewhere new. And it's not even just about missing people, although that is a big part of it. So for me, the hardest part has really been the emotional cost of starting again in my 50s. Because from the outside, making a big change like this can look exciting, and it is exciting. There's travel, a different lifestyle, new experiences, a sense that you're doing something bold. But what people don't always see is the emotional weight that comes with that. The pressure, the self-doubt, the second guessing, the moments where you quietly wonder whether you were capable of pulling this off. And I think that has probably been the hardest part of all. Of course, a big part of that has been being away from my children. That has never been easy. I think when you make a change like this, especially later in life, there can be a strange mix of emotions. On one hand, you know you were doing something meaningful. You know you are trying to build a life that feels more true to you. And you know that life does not stop just because you've reached your 50s. But on the other hand, there can still be guilt. There can still be that feeling of being far away when you would rather be close. There can still be moments where you wish you could just pop around, have a hug, or simply be there in a way that a phone call can never quite replace. So the hard part has not just been the distance, it has been what that distance feels like emotionally. And I think that is something people do not talk about enough when they talk about making a big life change. Sometimes the right decision can still come with an emotional cost. And that has definitely been true for me. The other side of it has been the effect it can have on your confidence. Starting again sounds exciting when you say it out loud, but in reality, it can leave you questioning yourself quite a lot, not just once, over and over again. Can I really make this work? Am I capable of building a life like this? Can I build a business that brings in enough income? Can I cope with being in a different country, with a different language, and a different way of doing things? And at times, trying to stay positive through all of that has been hard. Because it is one thing moving somewhere new. It is another thing doing that while also trying to create income, build momentum, and prove to yourself that this was not just a nice idea, but something you can actually sustain. I do think that part has affected me more than I expected. Not in a dramatic way, but in that quieter way, where your confidence gets chipped away a bit. When you're trying to stay upbeat, keep going, and keep believing in yourself, even when you are always just not fully sure. And I think that this is part of starting again that often gets missed. It's not just practical, it is emotional, and it tests your belief in yourself. Then on top of that, there are the everyday things that add to the strain. The language, the paperwork, the bureaucracy. And I don't want those things to take over this video because for me, they are not really the heart of it, but they do add to the emotional load. When you are not fully confident in the language, when simple things take longer than they should, and when everyday admin starts to feel harder than it should, it can make you feel more vulnerable. And when that happens, on top of everything else, it can be draining. But I think the biggest thing I've learned is this. Just because something feels hard emotionally, it does not mean it was the wrong decision. Sometimes it just means you are doing something real, something stretching, something that asks more of you than staying where you are. And for me, that is what this experience has been. Hard times, emotional at times, uncomfortable at times, but still well worth it. Because even with all of that, I still believe you are not too old to make a change. You just have to be honest that change can cost you something emotionally as well as practically. In the next video, I want to talk about what I've loved most about living in Bolivia, because thankfully there is a lot to say on that side too. So thanks very much for watching. And if you have ever made a life change that felt right and difficult at the same time, please let me know in the comments. Bye for now, and hopefully I'll get to see you soon.